Okay, scholars, you're welcome to this series of environmental management that we'll be looking at still. Uh, we'll be looking at management in context. We're looking at management in context, which is paper two for the syllabus 0680. Uh, and this paper is for 1 hour 45 minutes. So, without wasting so much time, let's look at. Okay, so without wasting so much time, let's have a quick walkthrough of this environmental management paper to management in context. Now, here, the first thing you see on this paper is the first is a world map showing the location of Ghana in this case. Now, you see world map showing the location of different areas based on the paper that will be given to you in your exam. Now, however, here they specify this is Ghana in the world, and you now look at the map extract of Ghana itself to give you a vivid picture of how Ghana looks like. And there is usually a key that can be used to interpret your map, and this is the capital city of Accra. Now, quickly, without wasting time, you now get some values of some description of the town or of the country, Ghana. Now, here we have the land area and we also have the total population of Ghana as of 2018. Now, from these two data here, land area and population, you can actually calculate the population density of Ghana. Now, the population density will be the total population divided by the land area. So in case it comes out in any exam, I've seen a past question where something like this came out. Now, the children per woman is 4.0. That means a single woman in Ghana is expected to give birth to 4 kids. That's what this means. Now, the life expectancy is 69 years, and the currency is they use the Ghana cedis, and 4.4 Ghana cedis is equivalent to $1. The languages in Ghana are Ashanti local language, and officially they use English language. Now, the climate of Ghana is tropical dry in the north, tropical climate, but it's usually dry in the north. And the terrain in Ghana is low-lying plains. Um, so you now get some economic information about Ghana. Here, we're told that the main economic activity of Ghana is agricultural production, oil and natural gas extraction, and gold mining. Uh, so here we have Ghana is a less economically developed country, so it's an LEDCs with an increasing population. In Ghana, 20% of the population are involved in agriculture. Now, the government is investing in in infrastructural projects and encouraging export businesses. Unemployment remain widespread. Now, they say in Ghana, 20% of the population are involved in agricultural production. So you should calculate the number of people involved in agricultural production in Ghana in 2018. So here, it will be the total population of Ghana, total population, total population of Ghana. Sorry for using the small letters. Multiply by 20%. So the total population here we're given in 2018 is 27.5 million. So if you bring 27.5 million multiply by, so we're looking at 20% of 27.5 million. So 27.5 times 20 over 100. If you do that calculation, it will give you 5.5 million. So 5.5 million, that's the answer. Now, the B part of this question is, we're told that many people in Ghana work on small farms. So it's more like can be intensive. So many people in Ghana work on small farms. So some people farm giant land snails. So they farm giant land snails as a source of food and shell in the local market. The photograph shows some giant land snail for sale. So now, what's the question? They said the largest giant land snail are in the highest demand and are sold for the highest price. Now, the diagram shows a giant land snail and the apparatus a farmer uses to measure the length of the shell. So we are looking at the length of the shell of each giant land snail before selling them. Okay, so here we have the snail, the body. This is the shell that is being measured. We have a vernier caliper and a ruler. Now the first question will be, suggest how a farmer could use the apparatus in the diagram to measure the length of the giant snail. Now it's quite simple. How you do it is, first, since you're looking at the length, you use the vernier calipers and you put it at both ends of the shell. So you now know how that means it will become wider. Then you now bring that length to your ruler to now get the exact length of the shell of the snail. So for you to structure the answer, it's a 2-mark question. So you just write, you spread the caliper, between the two ends of the shell. Between the two ends of the shell. Then the next thing is you hold the caliper against the ruler and take your measurement. Hold the caliper against the ruler and take your measurement. That's all. Now this is suggest one reason why the farmer does not measure the length of the giant land snail. Now usually you find out that snail normally hide inside their shell, so all the body will not be exposed. Snail tend to hide inside their shell when touched. So all the body will not be exposed. So that the amount you measure will not be equal. Now the next question here is, calcium is an important mineral needed for growth. A student investigated how calcium affects the growth of giant land snail. Now one group of giant land snail were fed leaves only, and that's diet A, and the second group of giant land snail were fed leaves with calcium added to it, that's diet B. Now the student measured the shell length of each giant land snail at 4 weeks interval. Now the table shows the result. Now they say plot a line graph. So we're looking at a line graph of the data for diet A and diet B. So we're looking at a line graph for diet A and diet B. So here you have the values and you have weeks here. So the first thing that we're going to look at is, we are going to look at the weeks. We form our X and Y. This will be on our Y axis. So if you come to your table, your graph now, this is how you do it. So this is weeks, and on your X, so your Y axis will be average length of shell, in centimeters. So average length of shell in centimeters. So you now label this axis. So here, if you look at our weeks, it's from 0 to 24 at 4 interval. So I have 0. If this is the first one, 0. After, I can start to count 1, 2, 3, 4. I can make this 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 1, 2. That would be, I'm looking at 0 to 24. And if I divide 24 by 4 to give you 6, so I'm looking at 6 point here. So if I go in this format, it will be 2. The graph will be, your graph should always cover more than half the space provided. So I will go with 8 8, so 2 represent 1. So in that case, if this is 0, then I have 8 columns: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. This will be 4. Then another 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Let me just rush through it because of time. 8, another 8. That will give me 1 2 3 4. Okay, sorry, 8 is somewhere here. So plus another 8, that's 12. 12 plus 4, 4. That will give me 16. Another 4, 4. That will give me 20. Another 4, 4. I think that will now give me 24. I can just add another one to make it look like 28. Now for my y-axis, I have the highest value I have here is 26. Start from 4, so I can decide to make it let me compress it so that everything might, okay, good. I can decide to make 5 to be 4, since the highest value is 26. I can make 1 2 3 4 5. I can make it I can call it 5. Another 5 to be 10. It looks too small for me. I like it. I normally love graph to be large, so I'll clean this off. I'll make 10 5. So 5. Let me see, another 10, 10, 15, 20, 25. This 25. Okay, so 30. So once I have this, the only thing I need to do now is to plot. So this alone will give you 2 marks. So if you want to plot your data now, let's plot for A. At 0, A is 4. At 0, A is 4. So 2 here is 1, 2, 3. At 0, A is 4. Okay, sorry. Now at 4, A is 6. At 4, A is, this is 5. So if this is 5, the next two 6. Remember, we are plotting for A. At 8, A is 8. At 8, A is 8. At 12, A is 10. At 12, A is 10. At 16, A is 15. At 16, A is 15. At 20, A is 16. So at 20, A is 16, so if this is 15 is 16. Then at 24A is 17. At 24A here is, if this is 16, then the next two 17. So then my graph for A will be this straight line. Now this is for diet A, D-I-E-T, diet A. So we are also meant to plot for diet B, and for diet B also start at 4. 0 is still 4, so let me use a different marker pen color to do that. So diet BA is still 4 for B. Then at 4, A is 8. At 4, B is 8, which is this. Now at 8 is 8. Okay, no, that's for A. At 8 is 10. 8 is 10. At 12 is 14. At 12 is 14. At 16 is 24. At 16, this is 20. I have 24. At 20 is 25. At 20 is 25. And at 24 it is 26. At 24 it is 20. 25 is 26. So my B, so this is diet B. That's all for the 4 marks. Now the next question is, on the graph, draw a straight line between each plotted point for diet A and another straight line for each plotted point for diet B. Label the line A and B. We've done that. 1 mark. Now describe the trend shown by the result for giant land snail fed on diet A and diet B. Now diet A and B increase. That's one there. You find out that there is, if you look at the both, diet A and diet B increases. So this, it increases. This also increases higher than A. Now the range for a set of data is the difference between the highest and lowest value. Calculate the range for diet A. Diet A is, the highest value is 17, while the lowest value is 4. So it will be 17 minus 4. So the range will be 17 minus 4, which is equal to 13. Now use the graph to find the length of snail at 14 weeks for each diet. The length of snail at 14 weeks for each diet. So if you come and look at this, there is no 14 here. So we are looking at 14 weeks, which our answer will be between this. So for you to do that, you come to your graph at 14. This is 12, this is 16. So where will 14 fall? In between is 8. So you find out that if this is 12, 2, 12, 13, 14 here. So this is 14. So if that is 14, you now go back to, you go to your graph and find, you trace it up to where it will touch the lines. So if I trace this down, 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 it touch A here. If I continue, it touches line B here. So you now trace it down to collect your data here. This is it. For this is this. So this is around, is this, let me see, it touches it here, sorry, not here. So if that is the case, this is around somewhere here. This is below, is below the value of 20. It's not above 20. It's not, sorry about that. I need to draw the line back. So that is, this should be 15, and in between, so this should be around 19. So I'm having something like 19.5, while for this I'm having this 15, 2 is 1, 11, 12.5. So if you come down for B, 19.5, 12.5. Now if you plot the graph properly, you should be getting something like 19 here. So the next question is, okay, the next question is, so we should be able to explain, ask us to explain why the giant land snail fed with diet B are called the experimental group, and the giant land snail diet A are called the control group. This is a straightforward question, because why is diet B is being tested? So diet B is being tested. So you find out that it is diet B that contains calcium. Now we have a question here that explain why the term primary producers is used to describe giant land snail. Sorry, primary consumers. Now they are primary consumers because they feed on producers, or they eat plant. Because it feeds producers, or you can put plant. That's all. Now suggest why giant land snail benefit from having calcium added to their diet. Now calcium is needed to make their shell stronger. It's needed to make their shell stronger. That's it. Next is, many farmers add crushed limestone to the diet of giant land snail as a source of calcium. So now, describe how limestone is formed. Now, limestone is, first, is a sedimentary rock. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. So what this question is asking you is just describe how sedimentary rocks are formed. So first, you know that shell or sediment deposited along riverbed. So marine organisms uh, also die and decompose at the riverbed. So if that is it, then the major next thing you need to write is it is usually deposited in layers, deposited in layers. So as a result, it will now lead to pressure will build up, and the pressure will now cause cementation and compaction. Will cause cementation, will cause cementation and compaction. Compaction for um, over a long time for limestone to form. To form limestone. This is it. Next is they say farmers, farmers, farmers in farmers. Sorry, let me see. Farmers keep giant land snail in enclosures. Now, the giant land snail are given fresh leaves and vegetable waste each day. The giant land snail grow best in warm and humid conditions. Now, the table shows climate data from a weather station near some of the snail farm in Ghana. Now, this climate data is giving us values of average temperature and rainfall in Ghana. So we have the average temperature in degrees Celsius from January to December and the average rainfall. Now, they said use the information from the table to explain why these farms are in good location for keeping giant land snail. Remember, they grow well in a warm and humid condition. So first, you find out that there is high temperature range. So high temperature range. If you look at the temperature, so the range will be the highest temperature minus the lowest temperature all year round. So there is high temperature range, high temperature range. So which will now make the environment warm. Of if you look at this, the highest value here is 28 that I can see, and the lowest value is 25. So it will be around 28 to 25 all year round. Now, if you look at it also, there is uh, high optimum rainfall, so there is no year or no month with total dryness. So it is wet and never dry all year round. Wet and never dry all year round. Now, if that is the case, since there is high temperature and there is water available, now this so what will be the multiplier effect of having this two that will suit snail growth? So plants can photosynthesize regularly. Plants can photosynthesize regularly to make food for snail. That's all. Now I have this. They said farmers. They said farmers shelter the giant land snail enclosure by planting trees to prevent the wind from making conditions too dry for the giant land snail. The diagram shows the wind direction at a new giant land snail enclosure. So what is the question? They say on the diagram, draw the best location for a farmer to plant a group of 5 trees to shelter the new giant land snail. Now, this is the wind direction. If the wind is coming from this direction, and this is new giant land snail enclosure. So where should you plant 5 trees? You can plant them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they'll act as wind breaks. Now, suggest reason why giant land snail farming is a sustainable activity. What will make it sustainable is that um, snail food can easily be grown because it's plant. Snail feed on plant, so food is readily available. That's one. So another thing is that makes snail farming sustainable is that it doesn't cause air nor water pollution. So it does not cause pollution, which can be both air or water pollution. It doesn't even cause noise pollution. So snail can eat vegetable waste. So vegetable waste can be given to them and they'll feed on it. Another thing is why it's sustainable is that a snail can also be eaten. Snail can be eaten as a source of protein. As a source of protein. And also no transport no transport is actually needed to transport it, or low transport or little transport. No slash little, can put little transport is needed to move it to the market. So what makes it sustainable is that it does not have any harmful effect to the environment. It's also good for humans. Another thing you should look at when asked questions like this is that the material needed for its production is easily available. That makes it sustainable. Now, say the student talk to some giant land snail farmers. One farmer said, I only keep enough giant land snail to feed my family. I feed the cook I feed the cook snail to all my children to help grow and stay healthy, to help them grow and stay healthy. Another farmer said, I keep enough giant land snail to sell each week, as well as to feed my family. I spend the money I earn from selling snail on improving my farm. The student decided to use a questionnaire to find out more about farming giant land snail. Suggest one way the student could select a representative sample of giant land snail farmers to answer the questionnaire. This is simple. You use a method of sampling. So you can say use systematic sampling method. So they can use systematic sampling method. Now you don't just end here. You explain why they should use systematic sampling method. That will not give you the second mark. Do you get? So if they use systematic sampling method, um, so they can actually select the first farmer and selecting the first 10 or the first 4 farmers that come in line. Or systematic sampling method, you can use that. um, select can select the using systematic the um, 10 first 10 farmers, first 10 farmers, or you can select based on their age. Now you can use random sampling also, and in the case of random sampling method, you just choose farmers randomly across the farm to fill in the questionnaire. Now the next question is, the student prepared the following questionnaire: farm, question, yes or no, blah blah blah. Now they now ask us complete the questionnaire. They say we should complete the questionnaire with one other question the student could have asked about farming giant land snail. Now, here they ask, does your family eat giant land snail regularly? Do you sell giant land snail in local market? Do you keep more than 1,000 giant land snail? Now, another question they could ask is, based on what we've been looking at, do you add calcium to your snail diet? Do you add calcium to your snail diet? You can add that. Another one you can add, do you make profit from snail farming? That will give you a second mark. Now, they say the table shows the result of the student questionnaire. If this table shows the result of the student questionnaire, then the first question here is, write a conclusion about farming giant land snail using the result from the survey. So this is the survey. You find out that you can actually just make a quick conclusion from this result. So you see, does your family eat giant land snail? 90 years. So I can come and say most farmers eat giant land snail. Eat giant land snail regularly. Now you take note that this is a 3-mark question. So I'll conclude with the 3 points here. That's the first one. The second one is, do you sell giant land snail in the local market? So yes, most farmers sell giant land snail to the local market. So you put that. Most farmers sell giant land snail to the local market. To the local market. The last one there is, and do you keep more than 1,000 giant land snail in your farm? So the difference here is low. So you can say about half the farmer, a large number of snail. So about half the farmer keep large number of snail. Is the difference is just 5. So about half, which is not up to half. So it's just English. But half the farmers keep giant land snail. That's it. Now, number 2, they said the second question here, the demand for energy in Ghana. Okay, question 2. Is the demand for energy in Ghana is increasing. Now, the map shows the location of 2 new sources of energy in Ghana. We have, this is the map. Always go to your key to interpret it. So this is wind direction and the capital city Accra. We have new wind farms, and we have new offshore oil field. This is an offshore oil field and international boundary. So the first question is, in 2020, 75 new wind turbines near the capital city will start producing electricity. Now, suggest reason other than the increasing demand for energy why Ghana is building new wind turbines. First, it will dependence on fossil fuel. Reduce dependence on fossil fuel. Another thing is wind is available. Another thing is wind is a renewable resource. It's a renewable energy. Another thing is wind uh, do not release greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases. So the next point here, the next question is Ghana is also developing an offshore oil field. Now, more offshore oil fields are expected to be found near the capital city. Offshore oil field. Now, calculate the area of the new offshore oil field shown on the map. Include the unit in your answer. So, if you come back to your map first, this is the offshore oil field, and the map has a scale here. And if you look at this, you know this is actually a perfect square. If it's a perfect square, you measure the length from here to here, and you measure it on your scale to get the actual distance on ground, and you also measure this other part, so the value here and the value here will be the same. So if you do that, you find out that this is a perfect square, and this is the length is 50, and the breadth is also, and the height there is also 50. So what you do is it will be 50 times 50, and if you look at the unit, it's in kilometers. So if you multiply that, it will now give you 25,000 kilometers square. So you just come down to that space to be 50 kilometers times 50 kilometers. If you measure it, it will now give you 2,500 kilometers square. That's all. Now, suggest reasons why some people think these oil fields will not benefit the people of Ghana. Why would they feel it doesn't benefit the people of Ghana? It's that first, if the oil is exported to other countries, now another thing is if the oil field will provide little job, now another aspect you can look at is since it's an onshore oil field, it can also lead to possibility of oil spill. So there can be possibility which will not affect the environment. Now they can also look at aspect of since it's an onshore, it could affect the fishing industry. In Ghana. Now, I think that should be the major. Another thing it might be that it is expensive to build. So that is why the people feel it will not be beneficial. Now, describe the impact. Describe the impact of oil pollution on marine and coastal ecosystem. This is on marine and coastal ecosystem. First, you find out that once oil spill take place, it covers the large water body, and that can have a devastating effect on both marine lives. How it lead can make fish to suffocate because there will be less amount of oxygen that will be able to penetrate through the surface of the water. So it can make fish to suffocate because of less oxygen due to less oxygen. Another one is normally it can stick to the feathers of birds who try to catch with prey on fishes, so they will not be able to fly and eventually die and prevent it from flying. Now, once these fishes die due to suffocation or marine life, it can lead to reduction in biodiversity. Now, it reduces the amount of sunlight penetration into the water body, so thereby reduces the rate of photosynthesis by phytoplankton. Reduce sunlight penetration, thereby reducing the rate of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis by the phytoplanktons. And if that happens, it will now also disrupt the food chain or web. Stop. Question 3. The capital city the capital city of now the capital city Accra has grown rapidly in 2018. It has a population of 4 million people. Now, the demand for all types of electrical equipment in Ghana has increased as the standard of living has increased. Now, waste electrical equipment is called e-waste. Now, most of the e-waste is taken to dumps beside a river near the center of the capital city. So many people earn money by collecting copper wires from the e-waste dump. Now, copper is a valuable metal. The copper wire is insulated with plastic. The plastic contains small quantities of lead. Now, the photograph shows plastic insulation being burned from the copper wire at the e-waste dump. Okay. Now, suggest two risks from here. Two risks to the health of people shown in the photograph. Now, one, it can lead to asthma. So it can cause asthma because of the distance leading to breathing difficulties. Now, another problem you can relate from this is can cause lung cancer and also cause things like eye irritation because you will not be able to see properly. That's it. Next, so the location of the e-waste dump is shown on the map. So we have a map here that shows e-waste dump, and we have a key to help us interpret it. This is wind direction also. To explain why burning plastic covered copper wire cause problem for people in the informal settlement. Now, because wind will blow the smoke from the burning. Wind blow the smoke. Uh, so smoke will cover a large area, and we also cover informal settlement. So the smoke uh, will cover large area, um, and also the informal settlement, and which uh, which can cause, so the waste too can cause water pollution because it's deposited close to a river. Now if you want to be so specific, you can say, you can also add the direction of the wind. So the wind is blowing in, if you draw your cardinal point, you find out that it's coming in this direction, which is the southwest. So you can add it, wind blow the smoke in the southwest to where it's moving to this place, which is northeast direction, southwest to the northeast eastern direction. That's it. Now here they said metal buyers only pay for copper wire if the plastic insulation is removed. Now the photograph shows different source of insulated copper wire. This is e-waste, electronic waste, and so a student collected 1 meter sample of different insulated copper wire from an industrial site near the e-waste dump, but did not collect sample from the e-waste dump. The table shows the information the student recorded about the insulated copper wires. Now, suggest why the student did not collect sample from the e-waste dump. First, e-waste dump is too dangerous, so he's looking at his health. For his health. Simple. Next, complete the table to show the mass of copper in wire sample Q. So we are looking at wire sample Q here. The mass of copper, we have the total percentage of copper wire, so we have the mass of copper in gram here, so which will be 75. If you want to calculate this, it will be 75 times to the mass of copper in the wire. So here we have mass of the wire, mass of copper in the wire. So mass of the wire, mass of copper in the wire in gram, and the total percentage of copper wire. So if you have that, it will now be 75 times 32 over 100. Now if you do that correctly, you will now have 24 grams. So here is 24 grams. Next, they say calculate the length of wire R, sorry. Calculate the length of wire R in meters needed to give the same mass of copper as 1 meters of wire P. So if you come, what is the length of mass of copper in wire P is 48. For you to get 1 meter length of R from wire P, if you have this, then all you need to do is 48 divided by 8. Remember, this is for R and this is for P. For you to get the 1 meter length now for P, it will now be equal to 48 divided by 8, which will give you 6 meters. Now they say calculate the length of wire P needed to give 1 kilogram of copper to sell. Now your unit here is in meters, but here is in kilograms. Now you find out that the length of wire P here is 48. Mass of copper in wire P is 48 for 1 meter length. So all you need to do here is for 1 kg to meter will be 1000. So from 1 kg to meter is equal to 1000 meters. So all you need to do is the 1000 meters divided by the total there, which is 48. That will now give you 20.8 meters. That's all. Now, an environmental organization is trying to stop the burning of copper wire at the e-waste dump. The organization has given some metal buyers a machine that removes the plastic insulation from the copper. Suggest reason why this has not stopped the problem of copper wire burning. One is why it won't stop is because there is not enough machine. Remember, Ghana is an LEDC. Also, it might be that the people do not have the technical knowledge and skill to use these machines. So they'll prefer to keep using what they are using. So, so the people don't know how to use the machine. They don't know how to use the machine. Another reason can be that the machine is difficult to repair once it's broken down. That's it. Some countries, including Ghana, have made it illegal to import e-waste from other countries. So just two reasons why countries will not want to import e-waste. It's simple because it will um, increase air and water pollution. Another reason is you look at the health problem. So it have impact on the health of the population, which is causing this sound. Another thing is um, it will add to the existing waste produced in Ghana. Off the fan. Now, the next question here is, so the e-waste dump has destroyed marshland next to the Odell River. Now, the Kali Lagoon is now full of silt and heavily polluted. Now, a recent biological survey found no evidence of living plant or animal in the river or lagoon. The heaviest rainfall at this location is in May and June each year. One person said, "We have always had some flooding every June. In recent years, the flooding around the Ode River and the Koli Lagoon was more widespread after heavy rainfall. It takes many days for the river to drain away." So just reason why the flooding in this location is more widespread now than in the past. So usually is can be due to silting. It can be due to silting of the river, due to silting of the river. And if there is silting in the river, you find out that if for it to be widespread now means there is poor drainage. So there is not enough money to actually drain the river. So there is poor drainage within the area. So another reason can be that the land is actually saturated with a lot of water. So it will be easy for most of the water to flood the surface. Um, Another point can be um, climate change. Yeah, it's also a major reason because it shifted from June to May. Climate change can lead to unusual rainfall. Now, suggest two reasons why there are no living parts plant or animal in the river or lagoon. So it can be to unsuitable pH or toxic chemical. Toxic chemical is present, which can also be due to eutrophication also. Another reason why there will be no living thing is there is no oxygen. And um, so if no oxygen, no toxic chemical such as pesticides can disrupt the food chain. Now, describe ways the economy of the capital city could be disrupted by flooding. This is simple now. You have where properties and business and infrastructure is damaged. So here they're just asking the impact of flooding. So impact of flooding is that properties are destroyed by the flood. So you find out that farms also are destroyed. So now that will lead to lack of food, which will lead to lack of food. Can lead to spread of waterborne diseases. Okay, cold mosquito. Spread of waterborne diseases. So it will. So that is when you say the water is contaminated. That can also um, make lead to unemployment because of it. It affects businesses. Next will be give 2 strategies for improving water quality in the Odao River and the Kole Lagoon. First, you treat sewage. This will help a lot. Another way in which you can improve it is prevent the dumping of waste. Into the river. Okay. Another thing can be you can introduce water quality laws. And you can come up with legislation to have which will to help reduce the amount of water being dumped into the river. Now, next is the government has a plan to build 2 drains for the Odao River to directly connect the river to the sea. This will reduce the risk of flooding. So just one reason why the drain have not been built. One might be lack of fund. Another reason can be lack of technology know-how. Knowledge on how to do it. Another reason can be flooding do not last that long. Flooding do not last very long. Now, this question is quite described. They say here we should. In Ghana, the malaria is estimated to infect 3.5 million people. So now we should describe the life cycle of the malaria parasite. First, 5 mark question. Life cycle of malaria parasite. First, you know that malaria breed on stagnant water. Breed on stagnant water. So the malaria parasite called Plasmodium is transported by the female anoplet mosquito. The malaria parasite, in bracket, called Plasmodium parasite is carried by female mosquito. Now, it's carried by female mosquito. Then what it will do is the female mosquito will bite, and the female mosquito bite an infected human. Female mosquito bite infected human. If you bite an infected human, so the malaria parasite will enter the mosquito and reproduce in the mosquito. The malaria parasite will enter. So the female mosquito bites infected person. So the malaria parasite will enter the female mosquito. Enter the female mosquito and reproduce. Then next is the infected female mosquito bite an uninfected human. The infected female mosquito bite an infected human. Bite an infected human. So the malaria parasite will now reproduce in the human liver. Will multiply and reproduce in the human liver. And once that is done, the parasite will now be carried by the blood. That will give you your full mark. Now, the last question, it has been a wonderful ride. It's not even the last question. Describe strategies to control malaria parasite. Now, avoid stagnant water. So that will help the malaria to stop breeding. So that's page 20. Good. Describe strategies. First, how am I gonna do this? Drain stagnant water. Okay, strategies to control malaria parasite. So you can use anti-malaria drugs. Another one is use mosquito net. Another one, use mosquito repellent. mosquito repellent. Um, you spray insecticide. Now you drain stagnant water. Um, you can use biological vector control. Now, the next question is, there are many fishing villages along the coast of Ghana. The quantity of fish being caught has gone down in recent years. Now, some local fishermen now use illegal method of catching fish. Large boats from other countries also fish too close to the coast of Ghana. Now, the government of Ghana banned all fishing from the month of August for the first time in 2018. Explain how this ban can help prevent overfishing. Simple. Um, it will help the fish to grow, mature, and reproduce. It will help the fish to grow, mature, and reproduce. Another thing is, the fishermen will not want to break the law. That's it. Now, next, or the last question here is, describe other ways overfishing can be managed along the coast of Ghana. So you use pole and line method of fishing. Now you use net with large size. That will also go. Um, you introduce quotas. Introduce quotas on number of fish caught. You can bring let me see. Okay, the first one has to do with close. Yeah, what they implement has to do with close season. Okay, good. They can also control the number of fishing boats. Okay, thank you. It has been a really long ride for me teaching, explaining this concept for almost 1 hour 13 minutes, but I feel it worth it. Just go through it, and I believe it will be highly helpful. And please subscribe.